Are you ready?
We are on. Remember to speak.
We are on, and
Yep, we're back.
as all of you know by now, I am the time traveler. I'll sort of explain that in real quickly in a second. And next to me
Why
is
do we have to explain it? They know you're the time
no,
traveler.
they don't, because we get
The
new people.
the channel
We
is,
get new people. All right?
The channel is named after you.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? Just
And I am your common sensei. I kind of bring the
Don
balance.
Panchito Villa. This is a man.
Villa. Come on, do it right.
Villa.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. This is a man who's from this century. He's got a computer, right?
I live
You live
in reality.
in reality.
As opposed to some people we know.
Yes. Well, and of course, you live there all you want. I got myself.
I'm married. That's why I live in reality.
How you like these? I got these from
Oh no,
my
the girly
ex-girlfriend.
spectacles.
No, look at this. They got little diamonds in there.
That's because you're
You
precious.
you think they're real?
I think you're now trying to say you're possibly going to come out. Are you of a different gender? What's going on here?
No, I just like the glasses.
At least,
they were free.
At least they match your shirt.
Yeah, I got them for that reason.
Do you remember? Do you remember back in the '60s, the men's glasses were squared off like mine, and the women's glasses all kind of had that feather.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you.
Kind of like that.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And then at one point everything kind of went unisex, and that all went away.
well, these are actually my ex-girlfriend's glasses, but she went.
You had a girlfriend?
Yeah, I've had several.
You actually found a woman to date you?
You know, at my age now, the way I live now, I'd have to get a homeless chick to live with me. But at one time, I had a little bit of class, you know. Anyway, the last girl, she left me her glasses. She left everything else too. She left all the stuff in my basement. I don't know what
Each
the hell.
night I leave the bar room when it's over.
Well, I got another song. Thank God in Greyhound. She's gone. Okay, we got enough of that.
Not feeling any pain at closing time.
Oh, jeez.
But tonight your memory caught me much too sober.
Oh, please.
Couldn't drink enough to get you off my mind. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I live in the past, and I look at the world through the lenses of people long dead. He lives in today's world. That's okay.
It's because I have to raise
Well,
a family.
The reason that they call me the time traveler is because when I grew up, I was born in the 40s, and most of the people until I was about 8 or 9 years old or 7 or 8 were guys that were older guys who were born around 1900 or 1910. Now, we didn't have, or even earlier, we didn't have, like many people in my area, we didn't even have electricity. So I understand what it's like. People write about living in the 19th century. No, I actually did live it. I know what a coal oil lamp is for, and I actually lived that lifestyle. So these old boys that would sit there and talk, we understood each other because we're coming from the same spot. So what my point of view is, and Frank can run wherever he wants to, my point of view is, I view the world through the lens of somebody who was born in 1900 or 19 thereabouts.
Is it nature or nurture? So yours is kind of, you were nurtured in the 19th century.
Well, yes, I know those people. Matter of fact, I am those people.
Kind of like I was born of East LA. What other podcast out there? You got a guy from
1900.
Guy from 1900, and you got the brown man who was born in East LA. I mean, come on.
Well, anyway, what would those people think about if they came forward? If I brought them forward with me, they don't want to come, but if I brought them forward with me and they looked around the world, they would think that you people should file for moral bankruptcy. This is the most, I can't believe some of the stuff that I'm seeing now. And if you take a look at it, were we rubes? We didn't even have electricity. Yeah, we were rubes. We didn't have a lot of stuff. You guys are so sophisticated. Oh, you've got the whole world figured out. You're very sophisticated. We didn't have any of that stuff. We didn't have much. But I'll tell you what we didn't have. You want to know what we didn't have?
Well, actually, this should be just kind of at home for you. We're out here in nature. We're not inside a studio. We don't have those studio lights. We have traffic noise from behind. So I just brought this little Persian rug, and
this is really
this is our office.
This is really a nice cemetery. You know, when I die, I'd like to come to a place like this to live.
You would think that people would come here to visit the dead, but they don't. I mean, we've done this already several times. There are some joggers or people who walk around
I had one
for exercise, but they're not here to honor the dead, are they?
I had one of them come out and bitch me out because I had my dog off the leash, and she says, "Well," I said, "So what? I make sure he doesn't leave a mess. And she said, well, we don't want, him to annoy anybody. And I said, what the hell? These people are all dead. What, are they busy?
Well, there's off camera flag half-mast to honor the death of.
I don't know.
She's older than you.
Oh, that's right.
Ex-mayor of San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, there's been so many. When you live as long as I have.
Dianne Feinstein, she passed away. I mean, that gal literally held on
To the last breath.
to her last breath, held on to her Senate seat. And
Oh,
Gavin
God.
Newsom,
They probably drug her out with her nails dragging the floor.
Gavin
That's not
Newsom,
funny.
who has a degree in diversity, inclusion, equity, no pun intended, promised that through equity he would have a woman who was a lesbian and who's black, and true to his word, we now have a gal. I guess she used to be, or is what was formerly CEO of Emily's List, which has always been a far left organization. Women Can Do, and
Boy, you get you started. You're like a wind-up doll. You had to shut you off.
I live in the present century. She's now the new senator.
Let me tell you what else we didn't have then that you have now in your world. In my world, I remember there was we got on a school bus and we didn't realize that there was such a thing. I didn't know there was such a thing as a gay person. I mean, they've always been around. That's not new. But I didn't even know about it until, I won't mention his name, but one of my classmates wrote a love letter to one of the football heroes. And he wasn't all that pleased with that. That's the first we knew about that. But what we didn't, that's okay.
So you were sheltered and protected.
No, we were rubes. But at any rate, what we didn't have.
Okay, what is the definition of rube?
A country bumpkin out there with his old work boots whitewashed,
okay,
so he looks
I
like.
learned something today.
Yeah, you don't know what a rube is?
No.
Oh my God, you got to get an education, boy. Oh, I called you boy. Oh my God. Oh,
that's a microaggression.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I am so sorry, God. Anyway.
Hey, Biden just called.
Yeah,
some
I
black
heard
guy
that.
the other day, slipped the tongue, called him boy.
Yeah.
God.
But anyway, what we didn't have.
And of course, does the media give him a pass? Of course they do. He's just an old fart.
What we didn't have.
President of the free world.
Are guys in bikinis gyrating around
I don't
on
want to
stage.
even
No.
visualize that.
This is your world, folks. This is your world, and welcome to it. We didn't have guys gyrating around on stage in little tiny bikinis, hairy chests, with little tiny children sticking dollar bills into their bikini.
Oh, you're
front.
talking about those drag queen
I don't care what
story
you want to
hours.
call them. There's a difference between gay and morally bankrupt. These people are
So you're
morally bankrupt.
transphobic. You know what you just did. I mean, we might even get canceled. What you just did is violence.
Okay, brown boy. Anyway.
Hey, I mean, Candace Owens evidently was at some university, and some gal said, "Just your presence here makes me feel unsafe."
Oh my God!
And I feel our
I hit the mic. I'm sorry.
Is allowing violence.
Well, here's one of my major concerns. Well, in my world, 1900 world, children were allowed to be children, because children, there are certain things in the world children don't need to see. It's all out there. You know, when I was growing
So
up.
you want to protect their innocence. You're one of those.
Yes, I do, because they deserve to be
Ballback guy.
taken care of.
You sound like somebody born in the 19th century.
Yeah, well, at any rate, and you know, in my world, you know what porn was? Oh, this is good. This is good porn. It was a lingerie section of the Sears catalog, and then when I got a little older and I got a little more developed.
Getting lost at okay, what's one of those defunct old stores like Sears? What was the big one where they actually had a ice cream station? Woolworth.
Oh, Woolworth.
So I bet you're the type of kid who somehow got lost in the panty section of the women's department.
You bet you. And you know what? Here's something that really pisses me off. I mean, it really pisses me off.
I think to be truthful, I think all little boys somehow got lost through that section. Like,
yeah, I did.
hell is this?
But anyway, National Geographic. I used to look forward to the National Geographic because you had naked natives of various parts of the world, anywhere they were from, but most of them were in a state of undress, and oh, I love that one. But here's the thing, I still get National Geographic. To this day, I get National Geographic. And you know what happens now?
Yeah.
They've failed me, because I go through the page. I pay a lot of money for that damn thing. And I go through the pages and I get nothing. No naked people.
I
Oh,
remember-
I am so pissed with those people.
Richard Pryor said, National Geographic is our playboy. Good old Richard Pryor.
And then another thing.
Dead,
While
dead
I'm on a
honky.
roll.
That's what he used to say.
Women were at that time fighting for their equal rights, and I remember an old guy I worked with. This is back in maybe
Equal rights to be just as miserable as the men.
early '60s. I was working with an old guy in a mine, and we're driving home. He's driving me home, and there's this chick. Oh, nice looking young lady, about 35, and her little MG has a flat tire. And I said, "Geez, Mr. Fish, don't you think we should stop and help her?" And this is a while ago.
Now, were you doing that because you're being a gentleman or because
That's how I was raised. But old man Fisk was ahead of me. He says, "Well, to hell with her. She wants equal rights. She can change her own damn tire." So anyway,
Wow. There you go. Bam!
He was the first one that I was aware of. But another thing, women have been working for their equal rights, and everybody's had equal rights. I'm not arguing. That's not the point. But the point is now in your world, you can have it. We were trying to do those things, but now they want to cancel women because now women are being beat up on athletic courts by guys who are guys. You know, there's a guy and there's a girl. I don't give a damn what you
Are you
want.
saying they're getting the short end of the stick because of this gender equity?
They're being erased.
Where men, you're saying a man who becomes a woman is not really a woman?
If he's a man, he's a man. He's got the muscles.
Yeah, but that's called misgendering, man.
I don't care. He's got the muscles and he can beat the shit out of a woman. So in my world,
that's considered hate, my friend.
In my world, I'll tell you what's hate. In my world, if you had somebody who was abusing a woman,
an emancipated woman should allow a man to beat the shit out of her. I'm sorry, to beat the crap out of her in a cage match and on the 100-yard dash. See, that's how old I am. 100-meter dash.
Yeah, but
because he's really a woman. Yay, women.
You know what would happen to a man who abused a woman like that in 1900? They'd take him in an alley back and kick the shit out of him. That's what they would do. And that was in my world. You can have your world where women are being canceled. Another thing I'll tell you what we did have.
I think that's why Michael Savage was so popular, because he used to say stuff like, you know, back in the day you did that to some Italian girl. You know,
what happened to Michael Savage?
He went the way that we went. He's doing a podcast.
Really?
Yeah, he's not on the radio anymore. You have to go on YouTube and find him. Yeah, he's just like us. See,
Yeah, but everybody in the world does YouTube.
Yeah, but he used to say...
My Aunt Mabel does a YouTube, and I even got him Aunt Mabel. All right.
A YouTube. What's a YouTube?
I don't.
Here's the thing.
Let me say what.
Back in the day, you were afraid of her brothers.
Yeah. Bingo.
You know, it's like
you bet.
Your brothers are pretty big. I don't think I should try that. Or her dad's pretty big.
Or if you grab
her
some
cousins are pretty nasty. I mean,
if you were grabbing some woman's hiney when she's working a Monkey Award, pretty soon her old man would come out and kick your ass behind the Monkey Award store. They don't have Monkey Award stores anymore.
talk about okay, women's rights.
Okay.
It just went viral because you probably haven't seen it.
Oh, no.
But in the streets of New York, there's some guy who was confronted, happened to be a black guy, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to be accurate. Couples were white. Confronts him in the street late at night. This was all caught on, a video, and stabs to death right in front of his girlfriend, multiple times. And he's on the ground. And did the girl come to his aid?
Nope.
She just watched.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was her boyfriend or her husband. She just watched him being killed.
Yeah.
Now,
in my world, that woman had been on him like white on rice.
And I think we give women a pass when that happens. But what if a man just stood there and watched his girlfriend being stabbed? What would we say about that man in your day?
In my day, he would never be able to put his face in town if we had a town.
Yeah, of course, because in your day, a man is supposed to protect the woman.
Yeah.
You just don't watch another man beat the crap out. I mean, the only way you would be restrained is if they had other guys hold you back.
Yeah.
And had you watch. I mean, there you go. That's our country now.
One more thing we did have, not what we didn't have. When I graduated out of the 8th grade, we were required to pass probably not a very complicated test, but it was a test on the Constitution.
That's the train. It's going to be loud.
Yeah, it's going to be loud. Shall we wait for the train to go by? Okay,
This is reality, folks.
Yeah, this is it.
By the way, Auburn is just a major transit for trains, and it's just part of life, right?
Well, we used to have a hobo jungle up on top of the hill there. Do you know what a hobo jungle was? That's when hobos used to go from one place to the other and work. They don't anymore.
Hey,
Now
I
they
learned,
just
what
hang-
was that type of language the hobos used, where they would scrawl messages on trees? In other words, this is a place where you can come
Yeah.
and eat free.
Oh, yeah, no,
Or
no.
the cops here will mess with you. Hobos had their own language.
They
What was
did.
that called?
I don't know, but I know my grandma had a little thing that she would hang on her mailbox.
Yeah.
And what that said was, I need somebody to help me around the place for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I'll feed you.
Yeah,
That's
go
what it-
online. And it's called hobo. It's not language. It's hobo signs.
Yeah.
And if somebody was mean to a hobo, they would put the sign on
Yes.
the picket fence. So
Stay outta here.
People say this is a bad person. He's not friendly to the hobo.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the hobosexuals.
Okay. You had to go there, didn't you? You had to go to Smut. Anyway.
What did Kinsey say? He's the father of all the smut that we have now. He said the kids are sexual, essentially when they come out of the womb. Gonna sexualize them early on. In fact, here's a little aside. Have you heard of Joe Rogan?
Oh, yes, I've heard the name.
He just had a little viral clip this week. He said one of the reasons he left LA is because this 5-year-old was in class and they were already teaching them that they were racists. 5 years old. And that because they were white, that they had to be extra tuned in to being an anti-racist. So just being against racism wasn't enough. You had to be an activist. And he goes, my kid's 5 years old. He still thinks there's dinosaurs and Santa Claus and fairies. And he goes, he doesn't know about racism yet. He's got friends of all different colors. What? It's like, what?
Do they do this? They got to know this
I
is
kind of
wrong.
jumped topic there. Sorry about that.
But no. Do they do this because they got to know this is at some level wrong, don't you think?
They
Or
want
do-
to start programming. Remember we talked about...
wait a minute. We got to go to reassignment. What was that Hillary said the other day?
Oh, that's right. We now need to
All those
find
MAGA
a
guys.
way, find a way, put them in a FEMA camp, who knows, find a way to deprogram MAGA.
Yeah.
Because how could these people, because really there's only the right thing. What is the right thing? To be a Democrat, right? And we have to make it safe for democracy. Bullshit. It's all about making it safe for Democrats. Oh, here's something about being, I heard this great line. Somebody I heard was talking to one of these intelligence insiders, and the guy goes, let me tell you the skinny what's going on right now. Most of the country is afraid of the crime, is afraid of fentanyl, having a kid die of fentanyl, and being abused by the IRS, that sort of thing. That's what the people are afraid of. He says, government, what are they afraid of? MAGA.
Yeah.
So does government go after the fentanyl aggressively? Do they go after crime aggressively? Do they go after the border aggressively? No. Government goes after what threatens their power. And what is that? It is MAGA. Make America Great Again. And so you're going to hear this little programming day in and day out.
You got
democracy, democracy. Oh, he's just going to park there.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. And of course they're programming you to think that one half of the country are, and FBI evidently has a special.
Oh, they got a new one.
They
Yeah.
got a special division that
Goes after us or
is-
anybody like us or anybody
is
who
going
believes it.
after MAGA. It all came out. Of course, you watching Lester Holt News, CBS Evening News. You probably haven't even heard about this. You probably think we're crazy, and we're conspiracy, right?
Oh yeah, we're bad
Today's
people.
conspiracy is tomorrow's truth.
Well, anyway, yeah. So, were you done with that, or shall we go on?
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, we're living in a world that we don't believe in anything, or we accept anything. You know what?
Yep.
Part of us are accepting all this crap,
Yeah.
but we're accepting it. But the problem is, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
This is the real
We're
world.
doing a podcast right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Walk on the other side. No, you're doing the wrong thing. Go on the other side. Thank you.
You know, you can stop. We're all right with that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We're amateurs.
Yeah.
Anyway, A country that believes will accept anything.
Yeah.
Believes in nothing, and that's where we're at right now.
That's right.
We live in a country that believes in nothing, will accept absolutely any kind of horror that you can think of. All right, that was it.
Did you have kids who did that had temper tantrums?
No.
Well, you know,
Of course,
they
all carried guns, though.
I was on the plane coming from Oklahoma back to Auburn, and there was this kid that had a temper tantrum, a seat behind me, and I tell you, major league temper tantrum. But this mom, she was a genius. In about 5 minutes, calmed down this kid, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And
That's my dog we're hearing.
yeah, he doesn't like that guy. So the guy must have bad juju. He doesn't do that to everybody.
No.
But dogs know. Dogs know there's something that's probably FBI fed coming from MAGA.
He might be. You know what? He might be the government. This guy just went by us.
Government.
Government.
Yeah. I mean, this guy. We tell him we're doing a podcast. He wants to sit there like, what the hell, man?
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, getting back to this kid, the mom.
But you know, some people that I respect just had a temper tantrum that Matt Gaetz was effective in overturning, or actually removing, Kevin McCarthy as a Republican Speaker of the House. First time in history that ever happened. And so Mark Levin had a temper tantrum, and of course he's known for being hot under the collar. And I like the fact that we have all these distractions. This is what happens.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, kind of nice.
You want to interview that guy when he comes back?
No. Mark Levin.
My dog don't like him.
Yeah, Mark Levin essentially said that Matt Gaetz was a. What did he say he was? He said he was an anarchist. That's anarchy. Now, I'm sure that Mark Levin, and I like him, but he hated Trump before he came around to figuring out what Trump was all about. And if it wasn't for Matt Gaetz, we wouldn't have the vacate rule. In fact, we wouldn't even have. Well, let me just go back. We're in trouble financially. The country's going bankrupt. In fact, we're going
morally and financially.
If you haven't heard this on Lester Holt, CBS does Evening News, we're going to be in a $2 trillion deficit. We're going to a point now where half of what we bring is going to be paying the interest on the debt. We're moving towards where we're just going to be paying the interest. And so these are serious times. So the whole idea of a continuing resolution, a CR, is just kicking, the debt can down the road, and everybody thinks that's the way you govern. Well, enough of that, because usually what happens is CR comes right before the holidays. Everybody wants to go home, and so we'll have a continuing resolution till 2025, and we'll deal with that. That's been kind of the play since you and I have been alive. It's everything down the road. And so what Matt Gaetz did is say, no, we're just going to vote for a bill for the War Department. We're going to vote for a financial bill for agriculture, and a bill for transportation. In other words, each division, each agency has its own bill, because this is the little game that has been played for forever. Let's say you have something unpopular with one group, and that would be, at this point, the Ukraine war. And so what they also do is lump that into what's called an omnibus bill. But they also throw in, let's say, lunch money for the little kiddies. And so one group says, I'm going to vote down this bill because I don't want money to go to Ukraine. But then what does the other side say? These people hate children. So they voted against that bill to defund the children. You see how that game is played? And both sides do it, okay? So Matt Gaetz, bless his heart, said, no, we're not going to do that. A lot of the Republicans didn't think it was the time, but it got done, and now they're probably going to get Jim Jordan. But good old Mark Levin said he was an anarchist. Well, frankly, folks, what is anarchy? Anarchy is what you saw on the streets in the past couple of years.
That's
during
anarchy.
COVID, where there was no rule of law, there was Black Lives Matter, burning, looting, murder, and mayhem. Burning, looting, murder, and mayhem.
It's gone past anarchy.
And that was called by MSNBC and Democratic leaders, well, democracy is messy, and that's how it's going to be, and that's how it has to be in order for things to change. And they normalized the idea that, oh yeah, it was mostly peaceful, as Velchi on MSNBC said in front of the camera while a police station was burning behind him. Now, That's anarchy.
Well, now
What
we've gone past anarchy.
Yeah.
We're now into chaos.
Yeah, and that was chaos. Chaos and anarchy are cousins, and so what Matt Gaetz did was use a procedure where you had a House vote. Everything was dignified. They cast a vote. That's not anarchy. So I love you, Mark Levin, but don't confuse things. Okay? Don't let your emotions got away with you on that one. Okay? Same thing with Newt Gingrich, writes an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. We got to get rid of Matt Gaetz, got to kick him out. All that, friends, is just a temper tantrum of the ruling class. And the ruling class, they've had a certain way of doing order. We got a lot of order going on here. This is the way it's always been done, time traveler.
We've always done things this way.
We've always had these continuing resolutions. No, we haven't. It's all that sort of stuff. Omnibus happened in the late 90s.
Have you seen any expenses in the new bills? What are they paying for? Some of it's ridiculous, but
See,
my only wife. I'm not going to pick on her because
my big gripe,
Huh?
my big gripe with McCarthy, like these other people, most people were upset that the new Biden bill that they allowed to pass back in January had funded 87,000 IRS agents. And we thought that was a gimme, that McCarthy would strike the funding for that, but that never got struck.
So they're still going to do that?
Oh man, right now the IRS is going after MAGA. Oh yeah, I got a little email from James O'Keefe. They're coming after him. They're coming after everybody that they think is a power player. In other words, they're coming after the generals. Eventually, they'll come after the lieutenants and the sergeants. Right now, they're coming after the generals.
Where are we? Are we privates?
We're not even on their scope.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So they come. They're going after Trump, and after Trump, you have the Mike General Flynn. Of course, that didn't work out. But then you have all these other players, like Tucker, Mike Lindell, Bannon, Navarro, on O'Keefe. I know I already mentioned him.
Well, the way that...
So McCarthy couldn't even get the funding for the IRS taken out. I mean, so how? And they're saying he was the most effective. I don't believe so. I think he left a lot to be desired. Anyway, he's out. He's out. He was part of that whole Boehner, good old boys. Do you remember Eric Cantor?
Yeah.
And who else? Ryan. These were supposed to be the new superstars, but we have this inflated budget, and all they're talking about is Matt Gaetz this and chaos. They're not telling you the chaos about this budget, which is going to leave our country and impoverish our country because we've printed too much money. The Biden administration and also part of the Trump administration just kept piling on the debt.
I'll tell you,
inflation is through the roof. And you see people on MSNBC, how come people don't love Biden more? This guy's got the most sick. Did you just hear him the other day? Yeah, in fact, it was on Friday. He said, most people, they really know that the economy is really good. I'm going, what planet are you on?
And the border is secure.
And the border is secure.
But get back.
That's the real.
Get back to this spending thing. It's like a husband and wife. I'm not going to pick on wives necessarily, but let's say the wife is handling the money, and they're going broke, and the old man comes home hard from work, and he says, "But honey, we're broke," and she's, "But dear, we still have checks in the checkbook."
Yep.
Well, that's basically what they're doing.
So
and that's both sides.
Here's the reality check from your common sense. During Black Lives Matter, burning, looting, mayhem, and murder, that was democracy. And democracy's messy, but it's for social justice, and that's kind of how it has to be done. That was what you heard from the administration. In fact, Kamala Harris even said she was going to fund some of these people who were put in jail. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so they gave them all a pass, and that wasn't chaos. That was messy democracy. But when you mess with the power structure, and you go after their pet projects, which is the military-industrial complex paying for all that money, that's chaos. So when you hear them talking about chaos with Matt Gaetz, chaos within the Republican Party, that's the messy sausage of democracy, folks. It's It can be chaotic, but if you're going to get something done, you're going to get a lot of whiny Republicans, whiny Democrats, whiny lobbyists, and what are the lobbyists going to do? They're going to lean on the people they give money to. Somebody wrote a book, Everything I Learned in Kindergarten. I think for you to understand the way government works is everything I learned in high school. Say you got a kid, and he might not be that good in football, but his dad is the big money behind the booster club. Back when you go to the football game and you see that jumbotron, his dad probably gave a lot of money so that they could have that jumbotron, or they would have some nice uniforms. And usually, if you look outfield on a baseball field, there's usually signs. It's like, you know, Bill's Construction and Jumbo's Pizza, blah 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 blah. These are businesses that contribute. I mean, high school didn't just put those signs out there. It's because they gave money. Those are the lobbyists, and they're going to lean on the constituents and hard and saying, you know, that money I gave you for your last run, it ain't going to happen if you don't vote for this person. That's how the game is played, and they try to make things really complicated.
He's kind of like a little wind-up dog. You get him going, you can't get him to shut up.
Well, same with you. You're just threatened. See that's exactly how politics works out. Is people get jealous that you have something to say, and they throw out a little remark to put you in your place. And that's what they're doing to Matt Gaetz. They're saying, well, this guy's just, you know, he just wants to hog the limelight. All he is an egoist. All that doesn't confront the issue that we're in trouble in our financial matters. In fact, I remember when McCarthy came in front of the cameras and he said, you know, if your teenage daughter had a credit card and she ran it up and went over her limit, do you cut up the credit card, or do you have her keep that credit card? No, you cut it up. And what did he do? He gave her that credit card for another whole year. That's what the continuing resolution
They've been
was
doing
all
this for
about.
years.
So he says one thing and then says, well, the other guys, in other words, they don't use leverage. They do have leverage. You do have leverage when you're Speaker of the House. But they, as you can see, they don't come after the issues. They come after the personality. They start making personal attacks. And once they go personal, and that goes for both sides, that's all the noise. That's not, as Bannon says, that's not the signal. The signal is we are in financial trouble.
And moral trouble.
Interest rates are going up. Gasoline has gone up. It might go. It always goes down during Christmas time because less people are driving. I just got an email that said from my PG&E, your prices are going to go up across the board because of what we're doing here, or what we're doing there. And so that's where people feel it. They feel it when they go buy a head of lettuce, when they go buy eggs. It's like, what the F? Everything's more expensive. And then we're supposed to think Biden's successful. Go ahead, you could talk now.
Well, no. The
Smoke
thing
your
is,
cigarette, smoke your cancer stick.
no, I'm not going to.
Show him the
I don't
stick.
want to offend
It looks
you.
just like, it looks like a reefer. It looks like marijuana. It's not, it's tobacco. Show them the tobacco.
Well, they've seen it. I've been rolling them for 10
Well,
minutes.
no, they don't. They haven't seen it.
Well, I don't care. Anyway, now look what you've done.
I've confused
Look
the
at
old
what
man.
you have done.
I've
I had a
confused the old
thought,
man.
and that's what you're talking about. The
Mom-
politicians change the subject, and then you got
My mom-
people wandering
my
around, don't know
mama-
what the hell's going on.
My mama told me when I forgot something, it wasn't really that important.
Well, I think it was. Anyway, enough of that.
What were you going to talk about?
I don't know. What were you talking about so what I could respond?
Well, I was talking about temper tantrums, and I said how people make things personal. They start personal attacks. This is how you attack me, like you talk like, well, you talk more than anybody I know.
Not in front of the camera because I can't get you to shut up long enough to say anything.
Hey, you
I
could do this solo if you want.
No, I don't want to do this solo.
I wanted you to do the solo.
I don't want to do. No, I don't do solos.
So you like bouncing off somebody else?
Yeah, I like to bounce off of somebody else, and I did. Oh, never mind. That could go anywhere. Anyway, go ahead. You're
No,
doing
you know, I was just those two guys who I respect Gingrich and I respect Levin, but they had a little temper tantrum. But of course, you've got the Murdochs. The Murdochs own Wall Street Journal, Fox News, and what is it? The New York Post. So you know all those venues are going to be anti-Trump. They're down against Trump. So those are the venues they're going to just jam him every time they have a chance. Oh, we got enough two cars.
Colorado.
That's a Mini Cooper. Remember when the Mini Coopers
I had
were?
one. I had one.
Remember when they were really small? Now that's
They
bigger.
always had lots of headroom, though.
You
Mini
had
Coopers
one?
did. Yeah, well, my daughter-in-law did.
And what did you think about it?
It's all right.
It's a nice ride.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. A friend of mine has a Tesla. Tesla's a sweet ride. I don't like the cars, but it's a sweet ride.
Well, he's an environmental rapist.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's the show.
Well.
Oh, and by the way, woke up this morning. And guess what?
What?
Hamas launched a military attack on Israel, and all hell is breaking loose. And they're evidently, Gaza is kind of towards the southern part. It's this little section of Israel, and evidently they're going into Israel, kidnapping. I think they've kidnapped about 20 people, and using them for ransom.
Yeah. Well.
And if you want to see a program, there's a program on Netflix, and it's a Israeli movie about the kind of a special unit. It's kind of like a 24. It's a special unit in Israel that targets Palestinian terrorists. It's called Fauda, which means riot. And it's really gripping. I think they just finished their 4th season, and Jan doesn't like it because it's, there's like a blood count in every episode where they go in and take somebody out. But it's really, in fact, it's one of the few Israeli shows that the Palestinians actually like, because it's really fair towards the Palestinian, because they're not all terrorists, but a lot of them have been raised. In other words, it's like the Hatfields and McCoys. They never forgive. They always remember a slight against them. So we're going to end up with.
Wait a minute. There's one other complaint I have.
Okay.
These damn matches you used to be able to get blue tip matches. You could strike them off on your pants or strike them almost as fingernail. They've gone green. Blue Diamond has gone green. Now they're all green. You can't strike those damn things if you rubbed them against a lit lighter.
I have to admit that quality has gone down
Oh,
a lot.
hell. But they're green. We're green now.
Yeah. Oh, I had an Eggs Benedict the other day. Usually they give you a ham that goes the size of the egg of the muffin, right?
Right.
What do they call that? What kind of English muffin?
English muffin.
Well,
yeah.
this ham was like a half of that.
How's Utopia?
They're making it stretch out. I'm like, what the heck is that? Well,
how's Utopia working out for you, folks?
Yeah. How's the price of bacon? So we're going to end on this note. There's a great little passage in 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, and part of it says does not keep a record of accounts. If you want to do well in your relationships with people, you have to forgive and move on and not have a record of accounts. You did that. You did that time, and you said this to me that last time, and then the other time you embarrassed me.
Sounds like a marriage in some instances.
Well, marriage, business. If you keep a record of accounts, that's how you will destroy your relationships, because we're all fallen. We all do stupid things. And there's nothing worse than always telling somebody what they did in the past and how you screwed them. And you got to forgive, say, I'm sorry, move on.
It's like Newsom. We all make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah, but as governor, you have responsibilities. That's why we had a recall.
Yeah.
So for wisdom for the day from Wisdom Scripture, don't keep a record of accounts if you want to have a lasting relationship, a fruitful relationship with anybody. That's how I get along with this guy. I got to forgive this guy every day. Gets on my nerves.
Are we done talking now?
We're done.
Thank God for little
Go ahead
favors.
and smoke.
Yeah, whatever.
Go ahead and choke on your cancer stick.
Yeah, whatever. God, you're annoying. The older you get, the more annoying you get.
I know. I do it purposely for you.